Aspirants, very good morning and warm welcome to all for today's session. Today's session is about how to approach UPSC examination. For this session, we have our expert who have already cleared UPSC Civil Service examination in his very first attempt. He is our brother Mohammed Ashraf. At present, he is working as a Deputy Accountant General, Government of India in Chennai. So he is having a full experience on how to clear the examination in very first attempt. Now I request our brother Mohammed Ashraf to take over the session.
Thank you, Upc. Thank you for this invite. Good morning, everyone. I hope you all can hear me. Am I audible? Whether my voice is audible?
Yes, you are audible, brother. You are audible.
Okay. Welcome you all to this session on UPSC. I came to know that we have around 50 to 100 participants who are already into this training sessions and all. I hope the sessions are going well. Let me start this presentation with let me start this meeting with the intro about UPSC. If you want to ask any questions, you can interrupt me at any point of time and you can ask. At the same time, if you want, you can type your messages also in the chat. I'll see and then I'll respond. Okay. First of all, before starting this one, before going into UPSC, we should first understand what is UPSC, why UPSC basically. You all might be aware of the stages of examination. Generally, we have state PSCs, state service commissions, and central side we have UPSC and SSC. These bodies, these constitutional and state bodies, conduct examinations to take persons at various levels in state and central side of governance. When we talk about governance, we have so many levels of people in governance. We can take, for example, if you are taking a particular office, say for example, let us take a collector office, collectorate. We have the top collector, and below him sub-collectors and assistant collectors, deputy collectors, and below them there will be personal assistants, and there will be block development officers, assistants, inspectors, senior inspector, junior inspectors, then assistant, junior assistants, then clerks, typists, even drivers. There are so many levels of people actually. So if you take a governance system, be it a small office or a big office, many level of people work right from the beginning till the end. So Government of India and the state governments conduct examinations to take people to serve at various levels. So this is the basic crux behind any government examination. So let us take the example of Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu Public Service Commission conducts examinations for various posts. It starts maybe around 30 to 35 examinations they conduct in a year for various posts. Generally, we have a set of examinations which everyone can appear. Say, for example, a general aspirant can appear for any examination. That type of examinations, we have around 5 or 7 examinations in state side. In the central side, we have some 3 or 4 examinations. This is with respect to state government and central government alone. There are various other bodies and examinations which are being conducted by other bodies. I am just restricting myself only to state and central public service commissions. See, for example, if we take the example of state side, Tamil Nadu Public Service Commission, we have, just a minute. Yes, we have group 4 examinations, VO examinations, then group 2 examinations, then group 2 examinations, then group 1 examinations. So various levels of examinations, which takes persons, which recruits persons at various levels. Say, for example, if you are writing group 4 examinations, you will be posted as junior assistants in the office. If you are writing group 2 examinations, you will be taken as taken at a level of inspectors, senior inspectors, like that. If you are writing group 1 examinations and clearing it, you will be entering as block development officers, sub collectors, then deputy superintendent of police, then registrars, like that. So there are various levels, and government of Tamil Nadu is taking at various levels. Similarly, all the state governments conduct examinations also. UPSC is a bit different. UPSC takes examinations. Generally, UPSC is a body and SSC is also a body. UPSC generally takes for Group E and Group B services, and SSC takes for Group E and also other services. So When we speak about UPSC also conducts around 35 to 40 examinations in a year. There are various examinations and various levels also. Some examinations are open to all, some examinations are specific to some set of people. Say for example, UPSC generally conducts George's examinations. UPSC generally conducts assistant commissioner, assistant professor examinations. So for these type of examinations, only a specific set of people can apply. Whereas UPSC conducts general examinations like civil service examinations. For engineering also they are conducting examinations. For economics they conduct all India economic examinations. Then for forest examinations also there are many type of examinations where generally everybody can apply and get it. So if you are performing well in that examination, then you can easily go through. This is the basic understanding of how UPSC operates. As far as we are concerned, as far as UPSC aspirants, IAS aspirants are concerned, we are concerned only about one examination, which is called civil service examinations. So this civil service examinations was conducted earlier for as a combined examination for all the top level services. A few years back, Indian Forest Service alone was taken out of this, and Indian Forest Service is having a separate examination. Only the preliminary examination is common for both General Civil Services and Indian Forest Services. Means there is a separate examination. Now I'll come talk about this a while after. If we are speaking about UPSC Civil Service examinations, the basic thing is how to approach UPSC Civil Service examinations. Now, before understanding how to approach it, we should understand what UPSC is expecting and for what post they are actually recruiting. That is point number one. Now, if we are speaking about civil service examinations, it is not only about Indian Administrative Service, IAS. There are around 35 to 40 services which are spread over at various levels in state and central states. UPSC generally conducts examinations as a common portal for all these top level posts, and based on our ranking and based on the availability of vacancies, we get postings accordingly. Now, generally in a year, UPSC takes around 1,000 candidates, 800 to 1,000 candidates. That's an average. Earlier in 90s and all, 90s and 2000s, early 2000s and all, it was very limited. So generally they take around 200 to 300 candidates. In the last few years, say for example, when I started writing examinations in 2013, at that time and all, generally they take around 1,000, 1,200 persons per year. Slowly it is getting reduced. Now it is somewhere around 700 to 800 persons they are taking. So that means 800 persons will get into the final list, and then they will be allotted posts according to their rank and according to their vacancy positions. Now, whoever is scoring top ranks, they will be ending up as Indian Administrative Service IAS officers. Then the second level would be IPS or IFS officers, Indian Foreign Service officers, depending on their choice and depending on their vacancy availability. Then comes Indian Revenue Service, IRS. We have IRS, we have Indian IRS IT, income tax, and as well as IRS customs central excise. Now customs central excise are over. It is called GST, indirect taxes. Then we have Indian Audit and Account Service, which I am serving. Then I mean, after that we have Indian Railway Service. We have set of different services within Indian Railway Service. We have Indian Railway Traffic Service, Indian Railway Personal Service, those type of services. Then we have Indian Civil Account Service. Then we have Indian Company Law Service. There are various services: Indian Company Law Service, Indian Trade Service, then Indian Information Service, then Puducherry Civil Services. There are many set of services which are available within the same gamut. That means we will be writing only one examination, and based on our results and based on our rankings, we will be allocated accordingly. Now, when we generally speak about UPSC, IAS is the only thing which generally comes to our mind. Generally, UPSC means IAS. That is a general thing actually. So let me start with that. When UPSC is conducting examination, it is not a single examination. I understand since you are going through this training module for quite some time, you might be aware of the basic setups, what UPSC is having and all. Let me slightly brush up through this because I think there might be some new persons also available in this. UPSC has three stages. One is UPSC Preliminary Examination, Civil Service Preliminary Examination. We call it a CSP examination. Then the second one is Civil Service Mains Examination. Then the last one is interview. So we have to clear all the three, and then finally, if you are clearing all the three, we will be entering into the final rank list. Now, UPSC Preliminary Examination is the basis for all. So preliminary examination is conducted at, every year UPSC conducts examination. First preliminary examination, they will approximately around 4 lakh to 5 lakh people generally apply for examination, UPSC preliminary examinations, and around 1 lakh to 2 lakh people generally write that examination. Sometimes even the numbers might be high also. Sometimes even 20 lakh people apply for it. Generally around 3 lakh to 4 lakh people write, because not every person who is applying for this will write examination, but that's a general number. Out of this 3 lakh, 4 lakh people, we can simply say around 50,000 to 75,000 candidates are serious candidates. Now, since these government examinations are free in the sense like mostly or with a nominal cost, generally many people tend to apply. So this is generally a means for any service, maybe any department, even UPSC or TNPSC. So they generally try to filter out serious candidates. So that is why they always have this preliminary examination. Preliminary examination is basically to filter out persons who are non-serious candidates. So this preliminary examination is conducted specifically to filter out non-serious candidates and just to have only serious candidates to the next level. Now, if around 20 lakh people are applying and 4 lakh people are writing for this examination, there will be somewhat around 50,000 to 1 lakh candidates who are serious in their preparation. Now, UPSC preliminary examination is aimed at that. Once we clear examination, UPSC generally takes around 10 times more persons than its vacancy to next stage, that is mains examination. Now they take, suppose if there are 10,000 people, 1,000 vacancies in a particular year, they take around 10,000 to 50,000 people for mains examination. This is the first stage. Now you can understand that around 50,000 to 1 lakh people will be serious candidates. Out of this, UPSC is taking around 10,000 to 15,000 people for the next stage. So they are even filtering out, even in the serious candidates also, they are only taking very serious candidates. So who are all really serious into their preparation and who are all thorough in their preparation, they take for the next level. Now here the competition gets real. Now the competition starts exactly from mains only. However, prelims is only for filtering out. That is why UPSC don't take preliminary examination marks for award of final ranks. So for final ranks, they take only mains examination as well as interview marks. So we write mains examinations, and suppose if 50,000 people are writing mains examinations, and if there are 1,000 vacancies, generally they take around 1:3 ratio for interview. So if there are 1,000 vacancies, they take 3,000 persons for interview. So 15,000 is slowly becoming 3,000. Now they are taking 3,000 persons and they will have interview just to remove the bias. Sometimes there might be a little bit of bias in interview, or there might be some little bit of bias in mains examinations. So just to remove that bias aspect, what they are doing is they are adding both mains marks and interview marks for the final rank. It is not that only they are taking mains marks or interview marks. You might be already aware of this thing, but you should understand why this setup is being taken. That is the only difference. So just to remove a little bit percentage of bias in paper examination, say for example, for the same evaluator, I mean, for the same, for two set of answers, the same evaluator might be giving a bit different mark for two set of papers. So this is a general bias. We cannot avoid this bias. Say for example, if I'm correcting a paper, if I feel that handwriting is very legible and it is good to see, I might be avoiding some 1 mark extra or something. Whereas even if the content is same for the other person, if the handwriting is not legible or something, I may not be avoiding. So ideally this should not happen, because the content is same. It is not based on the writing, or it is not based on the style of this writing and all, but there might be slight bias. So just to avoid that, they are taking interview marks also into this. So mains and interview put together, they will rank persons 1 to 1,000, and then based on that they will give rankings also. Once this ranking is final, then the next step is allocation of services. So this is the basic understanding about how UPSC operates. Now, I hope you all have a good understanding of how UPSC operates. Then we will start with this examination, how to approach UPSC. Now, basically, when we are speaking about how to approach UPSC, it is how to approach civil service examination. So that is the thing. Civil service examination, as I said earlier, we have 3 sets. We start with prelims. Now, what UPSC is expecting from us in prelims, in mains, and in interview. Prelims, mains, and interview, all these 3 are different stages designed for specific purposes. It is not like our general +2 examinations or 10th examinations, where we generally write and then based on that we score marks. It is not a single way of selecting. Since UPSC is taking people for its top help, it is taking people for its top management. It is not that only a person who is knowledgeable should come and all. There are other aspects of administration also beyond knowledge. There are many things like you have to take bold decisions. You should be bold enough in doing anything, and you should be smart enough to think of solutions also at any point of time. You should be smart enough to quickly go for certain redressals. You cannot have much of time. Say for example, if there is a cyclone situation, or example, if there is a flood situation, you have to act immediately. You cannot keep on pondering over in taking decisions. So it is not only the knowledge which is deciding. There are many other aspects with beyond knowledge also. So UPSC is trying to capture that type of persons through various stages. So UPSC civil service examinations, preliminary examination is designed, as I said earlier, is to filter out non-serious candidates. So in this, UPSC's expectations are very simple. I give you a question, you answer it correctly, and then you get through this. That's all. It is a straight given and take policy. That's all. So with respect to UPSC civil service, let us speak a bit detail about this. And if you have any doubts or something, you can simply post in the group chat. And it would be better if we limit our questions only to those discussions which we are actually doing. Say for example, one candidate has asked, what is my optional? I'll come to optional when I come to mains. Okay, so now we are speaking about prelims. I'll just give an overview about how prelims, how to approach all these and all. Then we can have a set of discussions about prelims. Then we move on to mains and interview. Okay, that would be better for easier understanding also. Now coming back to prelims. As I said, prelims, you are given a question, you have to answer it, and then based on it you go. Now, how questions are asked, that is the most important thing. Now, UPSC is expecting a person to have a good understanding, at the same time to have basic understanding of any issue. Say for example, if you are speaking about polity, let us take an example of fundamental rights. Now, fundamental rights, we know it starts from this article and this article. These are the things which are actually given. Now, a basic understanding of this means why fundamental rights are important. That is point number one. Point number two, what fundamental rights can do for the citizens. Point number three, what government can do with fundamental rights. Point number four, where these fundamental rights are originating from and how it originated. So these are the basic understandings. So if I simply say fundamental rights, and if I start from right to this, right to freedom of speech, right to all these things and all, these are all technical aspects. It is based on our constitution, and these items are already available in all these books and all. Now one can simply read all these things. Now UPSC is not expecting us to just understand what this fundamental right, what this article says, what this article says. It is not the only aim. UPSC wants us to understand the basics. Now basics means what? How fundamental rights originated, that is the thing. Why fundamental rights are basically important, why fundamental rights are required at all. So why fundamental rights are required in first place, how fundamental rights can protect the people, how fundamental rights can be arbitrary, how fundamental rights cannot allow government to go beyond certain level, and why government is not allowed to go beyond certain level. These are the basics for fundamental rights. So when we are speaking about fundamental rights, we should have thorough understanding. These are basics only. These are not high level understandings, all these things and all. These are basics. Now, once we are clear about what is fundamental rights, why fundamental rights are required, then it will be easy for us to understand the articles. Without understanding this basic, if we start reading the articles, we will understand the articles, but not in full sense. So for understanding and appreciating a particular article, say for example, let us take the freedom of speech. Why freedom of speech is given? That is basic. So freedom of speech is given to the people. That is what the article says. Freedom of speech is given to the people. Now, why freedom of speech is given, and what could be the limitations of freedom of speech? To what extent I can go with the freedom of speech given to me? With what extent I have to limit myself when we are talking about freedom of speech? These understandings a UPSC aspirant should have. This is how UPSC asks questions. They generally don't ask what is this article, whether this article refers to freedom of speech or not. No, that is not their way of asking questions. UPSC generally don't ask that type of questions, especially fact related questions. UPSC generally don't ask. Why? Because a person should have good understanding of basics about what he is answering. This is the let us take one more example. Let us take an example of global warming, environment. Now it is not like UPSC. UPSC won't ask questions like what are the gases which are responsible for global warming, these type of general questions UPSC will not ask, because these type of general questions are fact oriented. Of course, a person should know all these things, but for understanding, for answering a question in global warming, before itself, we should understand what is global warming, why is it happening, whether this is a man-made thing or an artificial thing, whether if it is an artificial thing, whether it can be reduced, whether it can be reduced through man-made things, whether it can be reduced through natural aspects alone, whether switching over to some other technologies will reduce it, what could be the impact of global warming on humans, on animals, on plants, on living life, planet as a whole. These are all basic understandings when we speak about global warming. So global warming, these are the gases which are causing global warming, and all are facts which are getting added to this basic understanding. Now, if an UPSC aspirant is preparing for that topic, the first thing what he or she should do is to understand what is global warming, how this global warming operates, how this originated, whether this is a new thing or an old thing, whether this can be reduced, whether human life is possible if global warming increases. If it is possible, how is it possible? If it is not possible, what could be the ways to reduce it? These things and all will generally available in any net, or you can generally get all these things if we start discussing with your peer groups. So this is what UPSC expects. UPSC expects UPSC will not ask, as I said earlier, UPSC will not ask what is the percentage of global warming presently in 2050, what would be the percentage of global warming. UPSC won't ask these type of questions. UPSC will ask specific set of questions with some basic understanding. Say, for example, UPSC will give the following are the options, or the following 3 or 4 points they will give. They will say could be the reason for triggering global warming. They will give 3 or 4 sentences. Say, for example, vehicular pollution, they will say water vapors, they will say give 3 or 4 options they will give. So we are supposed to understand all the 3 or 4 facts, or all the 3 or 4 statements which are given, and we are supposed to answer a question. Now the difference which a general competitive examination UPSC is creating is this. Now if a person who is having a general understanding will easily answer the factual questions, but for understanding these type of questions, say for example 3 or 4 set of statements are given and you are supposed to answer from select the correct statements or select the statements which are relevant to it, then you should have a better understanding of all the basics. It is not like I will only read a particular area and then I'll answer. No, it won't work like that. You have to read the entire area. For example, if you are again speaking about the same global warming, you should have the basic understanding of all these things. Then only you will be able to answer all the 4 questions. All the 4 statements are given. Now, if you are not able to answer at least one statement, then we will not be able to answer the question at all. Now, we don't have to think that these statements will be very of high standards. This will be about these things. It will be, you have to read a lot, all this. No, nothing like that. So these statements will be basic statements only. UPSC only expects you to have a thorough basic understanding of anything which we read. It might be polity, it might be economics, it might be environment, it might be science and technology, anything. If you are speaking about something, you should have a basic understanding. That's all. If you are speaking about, let us take the current affairs thing. If you are speaking about COVID pandemic, you should understand, or you should have a basic understanding of what is corona basically. Is it a single virus or a family of virus? Whether it is a new thing or an old thing? Whether this is curable or non-curable? Whether vaccines are available or vaccines are not available? How generally this spreads across? These are basic understanding. If I simply speak, if I have to give a speech about coronavirus, I should speak all these things. No? So this is how you have to approach UPSC civil service or examination, preliminary examinations also. When a particular question is asked, you should have at least 3 or 4 ideas or 3 or 4 points about a particular question in your mind. This is what UPSC expects. If I give a random topic to you and if you have to speak for at least 3 or 4 minutes, or 3 or 4 statements or 3 or 4 facts. You have to bring it on table. This is the general preparation style of UPSC. If you are having this preparation, this is not a great thing and all. You don't have to go and verify so many documents, records, all these things and all. Mostly these things will be covered in our basics. Say for example, 6th to 12th, 6th standard to 12th standard civil service, NCERT papers, NCERT question books, NCERT these materials generally cover these aspects. The only thing is that when we are reading it, you have to read it carefully. That is the only thing. So it is not like for UPSC examinations, we are going to have questions at PG level or MPhil level, PhD level. No, not like that. UPSC is asking questions only at school level. whatever we have read, whatever we have come. If we are start asking at PhD level or MPhil level or MD level and all, then those are specific examinations targeted to specific audience. It is not for general audience. Say for example, we are general people, like we are writing examinations in general sense. We might be doctors, we might be engineers, we might be arts graduates. There are different set of people who are writing examinations. So there should be a level playing field for everybody. So that is why UPSC is limiting its question setups mostly to 6 to 12 standard books actually, especially NCERT books. 6 standard to 12 standard books generally give a good understanding of how all these things are happening. This basis is very important. This basic understanding, if you are thorough with basic understanding, then we can attempt any type of questions. So this is the basis with respect to civil service prelims examinations. We have various set of subjects. You might be already aware. We have polity, we have economics, we have environment, we have history, we have geography, and we have current affairs. These are the basic things, basically 6 aspects: history, geography, polity, environment, economics, and science and technology. These are the 6 aspects. And the second major aspect apart from these subjects would be current affairs. So we should have a general understanding of all these subjects. At the same time, a general understanding of the current affairs also. I presume that you might be aware of all the books which we have to read for all these things. So I am not touching upon those topics, what books to read and all. I'm just touching upon the topics of how to prepare for this. That's all. So when we take, let us take geography, which is my optional also. I think one of our candidate has asked for this question. My option is geography. Let us take the subject geography. When we are preparing for UPSC, how to approach geography. Now, we must have read geography in our school times. In Tamil Nadu, it was geography was taught up to 10th standard. 11th, 12th, there are specific subjects. If you take specific history and geography subjects, you will be taught geography. Otherwise, it is general. Like we would have generally read history, not sorry, maths, physics, chemistry, and biology or computer science. So that is a general thing. There are special groups. If you want to read history and geography, there are special groups. Like we have different groups, biomax group, computer science group, like that. There are geography groups, history groups also. Those people would have read geography up to 12th. Otherwise, generally it would have been up to 10th. Now we must have read geography till our 10th standard. We must have had understanding about how geography. I mean, what is geography? All these things and all. But we would have studied it from some different examinations point of view. Say for example, I would have read geography for 10th standard examinations. Those examinations when we were in school time or even at college time also and all, those examinations were not based on applications in the sense we read a concept, we apply the concept in real life scenario, and then we answer a question. So those type of examinations are not application oriented. When we were writing examinations in 10th and all, it is like a straight question. Say for example, describe about Himalayas. It's a general question. So we read Himalayas, these aspects, height, weight, breadth, all these things and all, we will say. These are all general things. And we would have answered questions from that aspect only when we were in school. Now, the same set of books only we are again going to read. But the difference is, we see it from application point of view. Say the same Himalayan question we take. The questions UPSC has could be, how Himalaya is contributing to climate of India. This would be the question. Now we know Himalaya height, all these things and all, we know the average width, then the coverage, which states it is actually, which are the states that are coming under Himalaya's influence, all these things and all we know. But when we speak about how Himalaya is impacting Indian climate, then we should understand certain things beyond the structure of Himalaya alone. Fortunately, these things were available when we were reading our books also, but we would not have seen it from that point of view. Now, this is called application-oriented question. Now, there is a set, say Himalayas there. We know climate, we know Himalayas. All these things we know with a separate understanding. Himalayas, these are the things Himalayas will be having, and the rivers flowing from the Himalayas. Then the climate of general, all these things we know. Now, what UPSC is expecting? UPSC is expecting us to connect these dots together and to come up with an analysis aspect. How Himalayas is impacting Indian climate. Now, when we speak about impacting Indian climate, we should understand whether Himalayas is blocking anything, whether Himalayas is allowing anything, whether Himalayas is making a particular area good, whether Himalayas is making a particular area bad. These aspects we will understand only if we read it from that point of view. So this is what UPSC is expecting you to do. Now, the same set of books we are reading now, but we are going to read it from a different aspect, different perspective. We say it as vantage point. So I can see a particular book from one point of view. I can see the particular book from other point of view also. You might have seen many movies, you might have seen many stories and all. Like a same incident would be told from different aspects, different person's aspects. Say for example, let us take a murder case. A murder case, there might be 3-4 witnesses to it. One witness will say it from one point of view, other witness will say it from other's point of view. So this is called perspective. So the incident is same, but the perspective differs. A person would have seen it from different angle. This person would have seen it from different angles. So there might be differences. So this is called giving a different perspective. So this is what UPSC is also expecting, to move away from the general understanding, general perspective, and see it from a specific analytical perspective. So we have to see it from analytical point of view, how this is going to impact in general life. This is what generally is happening. Now, whatever topic we take, we have to see it from general public's point of view, how this is going to affect general public. Say again the same example of Himalayas. When we are reading it, we should have an understanding of how Himalayas is impacting the life of general public. When we are speaking about again the same example of fundamental rights, how fundamental rights, presence of fundamental rights is impacting the general public. When we speak about history, when we are speaking about this Indian Independence Act, how Indian Independence Act impacted public. When we are speaking about reforms commissions, how reforms commissions are impacting Indian public, how reforms commissions are impacting governance. So this impact aspect is very important. This impact or analysis aspect is what UPSC is expecting. These are all generally available in all our books. We have to read, at the same time we have to discuss with our peer groups. Discussion enriches the knowledge. Then this enrichment is very much helpful in writing examination. This is what a general understanding about UPSC preliminary examinations. You will be having 100 questions generally, and the general thing would be around 10 to 15 questions will be of easy type, around 10 to 15 questions will be of much difficult type, and in between we have around 70 questions. Around 35 would be somewhat below easy, around 35 would be somewhat above easy. So this is general setup. Generally UPSC asks these type of questions, and it is not like UPSC will only ask questions from history, geography, politics, economics, environment, all these things and all. Sometimes UPSC might only ask questions from history also. Sometimes UPSC might ask questions from geography also. So it varies. So there is no specific blueprint for UPSC, and there is no specific syllabus also for UPSC. No one is limiting UPSC to ask from anything. Say for example, in 2013, when I was writing examination, there was only 2 questions from current affairs. 98 questions were subject-oriented questions. Of course, there were some little bit of current affairs connection to those questions, but you don't have to read. I mean, at that time I'm saying, not now. Current affairs knowledge is not required to answer those questions. So there are such instances. I have seen last year question paper also, where around 50 to 60 questions were based on current affairs. There were current happenings and they were trying to link those current affairs questions. So here current affairs gains prominence. A few years back, maybe in 4 or 5 years back, current affairs was not gaining prominence. So it is a cycle. So UPSC decides how to fix it, all these things and all. We can't predict all these things. Like this time UPSC is going to give more importance to polity. This time UPSC is going to give more importance to environment. No, we can't predict all these things. So we should be thorough in all our preparations. It doesn't matter whether UPSC is going to ask questions from history, or doesn't matter UPSC is going to ask questions from current affairs, all these things and all. We see all the subjects at same level. We approach all the subjects at same level. This is how our preparation should be. But when we are generally speaking, generally you can allot 10 questions per each subject. So say for example, history there will be 10 questions, geography 10 questions, politics some 10 to 15 questions, economics some 10 to 15 questions, then environment some 10 to 15 questions, then science and technology some 5 to 10 questions, then current affairs some around 20 to 30 questions. So this is the general setup, but UPSC will not limit itself only to these type of things. I'm just giving you a general understanding for your general way of preparation. So we have to prepare all the subjects. There is no escape from preparing this subject, that subject and all. There might be different liking. Say for example, a person might not be liking geography at all, a person might not be liking economics at all, but we have no other go, we have to read. As a manager, manager in the sense like as a management person who is going to sit at the top column, he should have good understanding about all the subjects. So I can't skip one particular subject and I'll only read this subject and all. So that UPSC is not expecting, and UPSC will discourage these type of persons also through its complex question paper setup. So we can't understand how UPSC is going to make all these question papers and all. UPSC has the knack to avoid those type of persons who specifically prepare only 2 or 3 subjects and get away with it. So it generally won't work with UPSC's preparations and all. So I would expect you all to have good understanding about all the subjects, basics and understandings, and at the same time we have to discuss a lot with our peer groups, with our colleagues, with our friends, all these things and all. Say for example, when we are speaking about OBC reservations, which is generally going on, many of you might have seen in newspapers also. We have to understand how OBC reservations happened. I mean, why OBC reservation is required basically, how this origined, what is Mandal Commission, how Mandal Commission recommendations were given shape, when this came in central side, when this came in state side, why central is having different percentage, why state is having different percentage. These are all basic understandings. So how to gather all these things? All these things cannot be read by a single person. Now, if you are a group of persons, say for example 5 to 10 persons, you can always meet through anything. You can have a meet through group chat like the Zoom, or you can generally have a meet through your friends, just like a chit chat, all these things and all. You have to speak a lot. You have to discuss a lot. When you are sitting with a group of your colleagues or your friends, we should start this discussion. Like, let us discuss about OBC reservations, all these things and all. One person would have read something, the other person would have read something. So there might be 3 or 4 persons if we are involved in, if at all 3 or 4 persons are involved in the discussion, different perspectives will come to the same topic. So that will enrich your knowledge. Okay, this is how UPSC reservations came. Okay, this is why people are saying this. Okay, this is why people are avoiding this. Okay, this is why people are accepting this. These type of understandings will generally come if you start discussing many things. So for an UPSC aspirant, discussion is an important thing. It is not like I generally prepare with all these books and then I'll easily clear all these examinations. No, it doesn't work for UPSC. For UPSC, beyond preparation, you have to speak a lot. You have to discuss a lot with your colleagues. You have to discuss a lot with your staffs. You have to discuss a lot with your mentors. You have to discuss a lot with your peer groups, seniors, juniors, all these persons. So this discussion generally enrich your knowledge. So this is the only way to enrich knowledge with, as far as UPC is concerned. It is not like a person will, if I start speaking about OBC reservations, it's not like I'll have a very good understanding about OBC reservation. I'll read all the books available. No, it is not possible. Every human being has certain limitations. We can go up to certain level. It is not like we cannot go on spend time in all these things. So it is always better to have understandings, and it is always better to have discussions. Discussions will enrich your knowledge. This is how you have to approach UPSC prelims examinations. Now, when we are thorough with these type of basics, especially with respect to NCERT books, 6 to 12 standard books for all the subjects, I generally suggest 6 to 12 standard books for all the subjects, irrespective of whether it is your optional, it is not your optional, all these things and all. You have to be thorough with your 6 to 12 standard books. And you have specific set of subject books also. Say, for example, polity, we have Lakshmikant. For economics, we have Shankar Ganesh and Ramesh. And for environment, we have the Shankar Ice Academy's book. And for then what else? Then history and geography, we generally read from NCERTs. Then for current affairs, all these things, we have newspapers and monthly magazines, all these things. So one should have good read of NCERT books, and one should have good read of all the basics books which are covered in this. So if you are thorough with these basics, then you can comfortably cross prelims. It is not a big deal for prelims and all, but you should have thorough understanding of all the basics with respect to all these. So if you are clear in this, then be confident. There is nothing. UPSC prelims is going to be a cakewalk. It can be easily crossed. Okay. So now I think I'll go to mains examination. If you have any doubts or something with respect to prelims examinations, you can ask, or if we can have it at the end also, that is also fine. Rapsal, whichever would be fine. Shall we have discussions, I mean questions and answers in between, or can we have it at the end? Whichever. Rapsal, are you there? Rapsal, இருக்கீங்களா?
Brother, Zarif here.
Arif, சொல்லுங்க இது இப்போ டிஸ்கஷன்ஸ் வந்து இப்போ in between வச்சுக்கலாமா? Whichever is comfortable, at the end whichever would be fine.
உங்க comfortable ஓகேனா வச்சுக்கலாம், ஒண்ணும் பிரச்சனை இல்ல.
Okay, fine. So I'm just leaving it to the as candidates. If you want to ask questions at now itself with respect to prelims, you can ask. If you have any questions to mains and interview, just keep it. I'll come to that topic for discussion. At that time, you can ask. If you have any prelims, you can just type in your chat box, or you can unmute your mic and you can speak also. Okay, how many attempts to clear UPSC examinations? So basically, UPSC gives attempts for different persons. We have, you might have, many of you might be aware, UPSC or central government has three set of allocations. One is FC or OC. Then the second one is OBC. The third one is SC/ST category. So there are three categories for exam. I mean, for any central government thing, be it examinations or be it postings or promotions or whatever it is. These three set of categories generally operate. So for OC persons, we have, persons who are coming into OC category, we have 6 attempts. And for OBC, we have 9 attempts. And for SC/ST persons, we have unlimited attempts up to 42 years of age, I guess. Yes. So for OC persons, OC candidates, we can appear for examination up to 31 years of age. For OBC, I think we can appear up to 33 or 35, I'm not sure. And for SC/ST, it is up to 42. And within this, you have your limits also. Whenever a person is exhausting either the limit or the age, he cannot write examination. So we generally have, since OBC is generally predominant, OBC is generally predominant, we can generally say that we have 9 attempts for appearing for this examination, 9 individual attempts. These attempts will be calculated if you give preliminary examination. If you apply for examination, if you are not writing any examination, or if you are that means you have applied for examination but you have not given prelims, that means you were absent on that day, that means that won't be counted as an appearance. But when you write prelims examination, that will be counted as appearance. Even if you are saying that no, I have not done it well, all these things are all, no, it won't take it into impact. That will be counted as an attempt. So generally we have 9 attempts. So நீங்க எப்படி clear பண்ணீங்க sir? That is what I am saying. Okay, fine. Sir, in prelims, what are the things to be done to answering the question? I was explaining. I mean, what are the things to be done to answer the questions and all. I hope you listened from the beginning. This is what I was speaking from the beginning. Almost half an hour அதை பத்தி தான் பேசிட்டு இருந்தேன், எப்படி ஆன்சர் பண்ணுவோம் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு. Fine. One question, sir, I want to become IAS, but unfortunately I got only IPS, so I think to try next year, and even the next year I got even lower ranks as IAS. The doubt is, can I opt for the IPS which I got selected last year? Now when you are writing, this is a bit technical, but let me say, when you are writing examinations, you will be if you are clearing, suppose you are getting into IPS, you will be in IPS, and then again next year you can write examination. There is no bar and up for writing examination. Only if you become IAS or Indian Foreign Service. IFS, you cannot write examination once again. Otherwise, for any other service, you can write examination. That means you are not resigning and signing. You are continuing in the same service and you are writing. So next year, if you are getting IRS, I mean, it is up to you. You can choose IRS to go. You will start the year from afresh. Or you can continue in IPS itself. So it is like you are in an examination, you are in a post, and you are writing examination. You are not resigning and going out and writing. So when you are getting a lower cadre, it is your choice to take. And as far as this higher, lower, all these things are concerned, there is no concept of this is higher, this is lower and all. Generally, this is the perception or understanding of the people. Generally, when we are preparing examination, we want to become IAS officers, right? So that is the thing. So that doesn't mean that IPS is lower to IAS or IPS is below IAS, IRS is even lower to IAS. No, not like that. So for every department, there are top management. IRS people will be looking after revenue aspects. So they will be the top persons there. IPS people will be looking after law and order. So they will be the top persons there. IAS people will be looking after management. They will be the top persons there. I mean, governance. They will be the top persons there. It is not like IAS and IPS can mingle, I mean, or can go across all these things. It is not like that. So they are the heads in their own department. So it is not like IAS is higher or IPS is lower to IAS or nothing like that. But this is general liking of people, because we see IAS officers more when we compare to other officers. IPS officers, we tend to see less of them. And even for other services, it tend to reduce. So IAS officers have more interaction with the public. That is why they are visible, and that is why we generally feel that IAS is having more. I mean, the rank of IAS is high when compared to others. It is not like that. Every service, every person which is getting a service will be in the top management of the service. Will be the top management of the department. Say, for example, if I can give an example of say Indian Railway Service, and they will be heading the top management of Indian Railways. If you are saying that, let us say for example, if we take an example of what to say, Indian Forest Service. They will be heading the forest department in a particular state. Say, for example, they will be district forest officers, then state level conservator of forest, all these things. So they will be heading that concern department, whichever department they are going. So, for example, revenue department or railways department or forest department or audit department, whichever it is, whichever department we are going, we will be heading that department. Okay. So I think I answered that question. How to approach subjects like disaster management, internal security, internal that and all are specific to mains. I'll answer when I come to mains. I'm working on preparing how many hours I need to prepare to crack at first. So this is this question is again a subjective question. See, there is nothing like you have to prepare for these many hours to go all these things and all. So when I already explained, when we are reading a subject, we have to have better understanding, basic understanding of all these things. Say, for example, if I'm reading fundamental duties, there is only one article for fundamental duties, but there are different sub-articles within that. Now, for understanding fundamental duties, how much time a person takes, it varies from person to person. One person might be completing it within half an hour, one person might be completing it within 4 hours, one person might be completing it within 8 hours. So it doesn't matter how much time you are spending. It depends on your time, which generally you take to understand a particular subject. Again, reading for 4 hours, that doesn't mean that you have completed these many areas. You have to understand the subject. So for understanding the subject, how much time it is taking, it is up to you. You have to decide. But ultimately, you have to be satisfied with your preparation. That is what. So this many hours of preparation will land you in service. No, it is not like that. It is not like you prepare for 16 hours per day and then you end up in first attempt. No, it is not like that. You have to understand each and every subject that you are doing. Understanding for some person, it might come immediately. For some person, it might take a lot of time. For example, some persons will read it continuously. One time they will read, again they will read, again they will read. They will read it for 4 or 5 times. The same subject, they will read it for 4 or 5 times to have better understanding. Some persons will read it only once and they will have better understanding. So a person who is reading 4 or 5 times will be spending more time. A person will be reading who is reading only once will be spending less time. But that doesn't mean that this person is this person has read it 5 times, he will be answered in a better way. This person has read it only 1 time, he will not be able to answer. No, not like that. It purely depends upon your understanding and your satisfaction. So it varies from person to person. So there is no set of there is no specific set of timing and all. So it depends fully on yours. That's all. So there are many questions. I'll just speak about questions which are pertaining only to prelims. How to manage time? The same answer which I give. So it doesn't matter how much time you are taking and all. Even 2 hours, 3 hours would be fine, but it depends on your level of understanding of a particular subject. So how many attempts you take to clear? I give in first attempt. Is there anything to fast forward, a shortcut to manage time? So basically, as far as time is concerned, we need not have to go for further time related questions. So as far as time is concerned, it purely depends on your preparation level. Whether you are comfortable with a particular subject after preparation, then that's all. You might be completing a particular subject in half an hour also. You might be completing a particular subject in 2 hours also. Doesn't matter. So you read, keep on reading. That's all. Whenever you get time, you keep on reading. So it is not like you have to prepare for this much time and all to clear. Not like that. You keep on reading. That's all. And there is no fast forward. There is no shortcut to manage time and all. You see, basically, with respect to preparation, it ultimately boils down to your understanding of a particular subject or a particular topic. That's all. It purely depends on your understanding. So if I am speaking about, say for example, if I am speaking about GDP in economics, I should understand what is GDP. How much time it takes for me to understand GDP, it depends. I might be searching a video in YouTube. I might be reading some articles in YouTube. I might be reading the question. But ultimately, the aim is to get an understanding about GDP. What is GDP? So I should be able to speak few words about GDP when someone asks. That's all. So if you are able to speak, then it is fine. That is your satisfaction level. So when you are spending, how much time you spend to get the satisfaction level, it depends. It might be half an hour for some person, it might be 2 hours for some person. So this is all. So there is nothing like this time, all these things and all. There is no fast forward, shortcut, all these things and all. So you have to understand the subject. That's all. If someone passes in both prelims and mains exam but fail in interview, there any chance to get a government job? Presently, unfortunately, there is nothing. You have to start from the beginning only. But there is a proposal that if at all, when a person who is clearing mains and not clearing interview, there is a proposal to give a chance in SSC. Like SSC, you might be knowing, Staff Selection Commission. Generally, it takes Group B services, Group 2 services generally for central government offices. So there is a proposal to take those candidates. If at all a person is failing in mains, there is a proposal to give job directly in SSC, but that is still in proposal stage only. It has not yet come. As of now, if a person fails in mains, then we have to start from the beginning only. So I would request you to limit questions only to prelims. When we come to mains, we will speak about mains. Yes, I am an engineering graduate. We have to select department is what we have to select. That question and all I'll come when I cover in the interview. Do we have to get the highest mark possible in prelims? No, it is not required. See, as I said, prelims is just to filter out non-serious candidates. If there are 1,000 persons, 1,000 vacancies, then generally UPC takes 15,000 persons for a particular year. So 1:15 ratio. So if there are 1,000 vacancies, UPC takes 15,000. So the first 15,000 gets into the mains. That's all. So there is nothing like a cutoff. There is nothing like all these things and all. So first 15,000 people will go into this. That's all. Again, that 50,000 will be split into OBC, OC, and SC, ST. So if 1,000 persons are there, if 500 seats are in OC and around 270 seats in OBC. Sorry, around 200 seats in OBC and remaining in SC/ST means first 500 will of OC will get into this list, something like that only. So it is not like all persons are like, it is not like people. I mean, there is nothing like cutoff and all. We will just have top 50,000 persons will move into mains. That's all. Study together for prelims and mains. I'll cover short tricks for answering prelims, extremely high means that short tricks and all we will take it up as a separate thing actually. Now this meeting is only to have an idea about how to approach UPSC. How to, what is your mind? Please move to mains. Or questions repeated in UPSC. Are questions repeated in UPSC? Generally questions are not repeated in UPSC, but the concepts are repeated in UPSC. So it is always advisable for UPSC aspirants to have to at least must have seen last 4 or 5 years question papers. The concepts which are coming in those question papers will get repeated once again. Say for example, if there was a concept last year regarding fundamental rights, the same concept might appear next year also. Of course, with a different question, but the concept would be same. Say for example, in the earlier year, they would have asked fundamental rights about the limitations of fundamental rights. In this year, they would have asked about the application of fundamental rights in some particular act or something like that. So the concept is same. The questions are slightly twisted, the questions are slightly tilted. So if you are thorough with the earlier question papers, at least 4 or 5 years question papers, then it would be easy for us to answer. So it is important for us to see all year question papers also. Okay, so I think we shall move to mains aspect. So since we are running out of time also, I think 1 hour is almost over. So we will move to mains aspects. So other questions I will answer. I will answer after some time. So we'll just go to mains. Now, when we are coming about mains, our real challenge actually start from mains. Why I'm saying this is prelims marks are not considered for UPSC rankings. Only mains and interview marks are considered for UPSC rankings. So the first challenge start from mains. So that doesn't mean that if prelims is very easy, just like that we can clear and all. We should have general understanding, deep understanding, and basic understanding of all the subjects we are doing. So what is the difference between prelims and mains? The preliminary and mains examinations are one and the same. The only difference is that in prelims we will be given options to answer, but in mains we have to write on our own. There will not be any options. That is the difference. So the same aspects of preparation will apply to mains also. If you are covering prelims, then around 70% of your mains preparation would be covered in your prelims preparation itself. So that itself would be enough actually. We have to add to this 30%, and then we have to start practicing about how to write examinations. This is the difference that mains is going to show with respect to prelims. Now, I'm sure that most of you might be aware of the number of papers and all. I'll simply just touch upon those aspects. We have 9 papers in mains. 2 papers are options. Qualifying papers. 2 papers are optional papers. So out of this 9, 4 will be out. 1 paper is essay paper, and 4 papers would be general studies papers. So this is the general format of UPSC. Now, UPSC is having qualifying papers also. one qualifying paper English and another qualifying paper the language that you choose. It might be Tamil or Malayalam or Telugu or Hindi or whatever it is, whichever is your comfortable language you can choose. Now we have to score 33% of marks in qualifying papers. If you are not scoring 33% marks, then your remaining 7 papers will not be evaluated. So first evaluation will be only for this qualifying papers. If we qualify, then we will get into mains. I forgot to say this, and I think you will be aware also. The same applies to prelims also. The paper 2, which is the CSAT paper, is actually a qualifying paper. You have to score 33% marks in that. Then only your first paper, that is a GS1 paper, will be evaluated. So only the GS1 paper will be taken for your evaluation. You have to just score 33% in this. If you are crossing 33%, then they will start evaluating your GS1. That is your preliminary paper 1 exam, paper 1. And you have to score a set of marks to get through mains. Now the same set of rules apply for mains examinations also. The same thing. You have to clear English, and then you have to clear your optional language, and you have to at least get 33%. Then your mains examinations will be evaluated. Now we have 7 papers. That is our target. These 2 papers generally we can clear, because English and Tamil is generally of school standard only. It is not a big thing. And again, clearing those qualifying papers is also not a difficult job, because we have essay in that one, and then we have some preceding, we have some letters, we have some grammars, all these things and all. Just 1 day of read before examination will be more than enough to clear clear this qualifying papers. So we need not have too much time. Spend much time in understanding this. Just 1 day of 1 or 2 days of preparation and some writing practice. So most of us would not be in touch with our native language. Say for example, Tamil. We might have written this during our school days. College days also we might not have written. So that touch might not be there. Touch with the. So we have to start practicing it. So 1 or 2 days just before examination will be enough to clear this qualifying papers. So let us come to the main aspects. We have 7 papers in total. These are our basic targets. These 7 papers. Out of the 7 papers, 5 papers are common to everybody, and 2 papers would be your optional paper. So 5 papers everybody is going to write in the same way. You have to understand that around only 15,000 people are going to write this examination. 15,000 people means all are serious candidates. So all might have got general understanding about all the aspects. Like what, if you say anything, if you say any topic, whatever understanding you are having, the candidate who is sitting next to you also will have equal understanding. Okay, we need not have to judge a person based on all these things. At mains point of view, everybody will have equal understanding about all the subjects. So if you are able to speak about a particular topic for some 4 or 5 minutes, the candidate who is sitting next to you also will be able to speak. Okay, so how to show difference? So the question is also there. Answer is also known to you. Answer is, if an answer is known to you, then your candidate who is next to you also will definitely know that answer also. Okay, so how to make difference in writing examinations? So that is where the role of understanding mains comes. So from mains point of view, what is expected from a candidate? Similarly, similar to what prelims is doing, mains also expects a candidate to have application understanding. For example, in mains, what type of questions they will ask is, they will not ask like describe the agriculture areas of India. No, they won't ask questions like that. They will give certain set of questions where you have to apply your knowledge, and then you have to come up with some conclusion or some solution or some answer. Say for example, they will say how to improve deep sea fishing in Indian Ocean. That would be the question. This answer you will not get in any paper, any question, any book. It will not be there. How to improve deep sea fishing in Indian Ocean? Now for this, what you should have? You should have basic understanding. Already we would have seen it. What is Indian Ocean? Its extent. What are the general resources available in Indian Ocean? We'd be knowing the fisheries department or fisheries, the scenario of fisheries in India. We'd be generally knowing. Generally, coastal belts will have more of fishery-related occupations. There are fishing community. If fishing community faces these type of problems, fishing community is having these type of issues. Say for example, when we are speaking about this Indian Ocean, then the Sri Lankan issue also will crop up. Going and fishing beyond international sea borders. So all these things and all are put together. So it is not like how to improve fishing in ocean, Indian Ocean. Does it mean that you have to say that we have to deploy these type of things, we have to go for this? This is not a general understanding. You have to have a general idea about what could be the issues generally pertaining to fisheries in India, especially fisheries in the southern coastal belt. So if you are having this understanding, then you will be able to give a better answer. Now this understanding, how you would have got from multiple aspects. It is not like when you read only geography you will get this fisheries issues and all. You might have got it from current affairs. Say the same issue pertains in Gujarat also, where the cross border with respect to Pakistan and India, there are border areas in marine also, and when we are crossing this border areas, there are clashes. All these things are happening at fisherman level also. The same applies in southern side also. The same applies in Bangladesh side also with respect to West Bengal or with respect to Orissa. So this is a common issue. So when our answer is not touching this aspect, then our answer would be a general answer. See, if UPSC is asking a general question, anybody can write a general answer. Now, how to make a difference? These aspects, when we are bringing in your answer, this will make a difference. You have to touch upon a slight topic. Like we have to say there are border issues when fishing is involved, especially with respect to our neighboring countries like Pakistan, Sri Lanka, or Bangladesh. Government should have a certain set of rules and guidelines to guide fishermen when they are going for deep sea fishing, especially at the international boundaries. This particular point will give you added advantage when compared to your competitor. This is how the difference we are going to make. This is the subtle difference we are going to make. It is not a big identification or this is a big revelation and all. Everybody will know all these aspects. Now, how you are going to bring it in the paper? Now that makes a difference. So the evaluator who is going to evaluate your question will slightly give some half mark or 1 mark extra when compared to the other person who has given a general answer. Now, when we start getting this half mark or something extra in all the questions, so this is how we get into the final list. That is the only trick. So the only trick is that you have to give a wholesome view when a question is asked, but that doesn't mean that you can keep on writing. UPSC has limitations of space also. It is not like our general examination where question paper will be printed and given in one hand and answer paper will be sheets will be given separately. You write. It is not like that. UPSC will give standard set of questions and answer booklet where questions will be printed and space would have been given to answer. So you have to answer within that space only. So space will generally be there. For each question there will be around 2 to 3 space, 2 to 3 page of space. But if you start writing for the entire 2 to 3 page, you will not be able to answer the questions at the last. Generally there will be around 20 questions, 20 to 25 questions on an average. So if you are writing, you have to give short answer, you have to write crisp answer. At the same time, you have to touch upon as many aspects as possible. That is the only thing. Okay, so be it any topic, you have to touch as many different aspects as possible within the short span of time. This is the only trick for UPSC mains examination. This trick will only come if you start practicing and discussing. You have to discuss a lot with your big group. You have to take a particular question and you have to see how we can answer this question. So when you are writing and trying to write and answer this question, you will understand. No, I am taking so much time. No, I am taking very less time. No, I am not bringing different aspects. I am just only saying 2 or 3 points only. I am just elaborating and writing stories and all these things. So these things you will understand only if have different perspectives. So as I said earlier, perspectives will come only if you start discussing with your peer groups. Okay. So this is the only trick with respect to UPSC mains. You have to have different perspectives. You have to answer or bring in different perspectives, as many different perspectives as possible within the answer, and that too within the short span of space. That's all. That is the only trick. Okay. So coming back to papers, we have this whatever rule that I generally I spoke of generally applies to all the questions. Doesn't matter whether it is essay paper or doesn't matter whether it is option paper or this generally applies to all. Okay. Now we have option papers. Let us first discuss about option, then we'll come to others. Option paper is the one area where you can actually show some difference. Say for example, everybody is not going to have the same option. See, 15,000 people are writing means some 5,000 people will have geography options, some 4,000, 5,000 people will have history option. There are engineering options, there are medical options, law options. Many people will take, and the question papers will also vary, and the evaluators is also varying. So it is not like we can have a level playing field for everybody. Okay, but options are specifically given to have an advantage over others. It is specifically given. That is why option is very important for us to choose. So now how to choose an option? You have to choose an option which is comfortable to you. That's all. There is nothing great. This question, this option where he is earning much of marks. You need not have to go and analyze all these things in the last 5 years. This option people have cleared, so many people who have cleared is having this option, so we have to take this option. No, nothing like that. It is purely your comfortableness. That's all. If I like geography, I take geography. That's all. It is as simple as that. If I like history, I take history. You don't have to break your head much in all these things, because all these subjects you are reading in prelims, all these subjects you are reading in mains also. For your general studies papers 1, 2, 3, you are going to write all these subjects. You are touching history, you are touching geography, polity, economics, environment, science and technology, current affairs. We are touching all these aspects. So when we are reading prelims itself, we will be having some liking towards some subjects. Like somebody might be liking economics. Okay, I like economics, so he can take the economic option. Somebody will have a good understanding about history, so he likes history, so he can take history option. Somebody will be very difficult to remember dates and all. It will be difficult for somebody. So if a person takes history, then it will be very difficult for him to read even GS also, at the same time preparing for mains also. So those type of persons have to choose something else. So he might be having something like geography or something like that. So option selection purely depends on which one you like. Okay, so I would not suggest you to go into this option selection very quickly, because my suggestion would be to have general preparation of civil services prelims, GS especially, for some 2 or 3 months. Then you will have understanding about each subject, how this subject works, how this subject operates, how difficult this subject is. Then you can choose your option. Okay, and at the same time we have engineering option also. If you are comfortable in engineering, you can always choose engineering option. There is no bar. You have many options. Earlier there were cases like there some options are generally preferred. Why? Because basically material availability will be more. 5 years or 10 years back, there will be only Chennai was not that much having, Chennai was not the hub at that time, especially not only Chennai. Now all the major metro cities are becoming a hub of UPC preparation. 10-15 years back only it was Delhi. So we have to go to Delhi for all these preparations. In Chennai there were some 2-3 bookshops where our subject books will be available. So that is why generally at one point of time people tend to prefer common subjects. Say for example, if we take history or if we take geography, then we will have a lot of material. We will have materials and library, all these things and all. Now the situation is different. Now that is not the case. Now for every subject we have a lot of material. Even the same subject material will be available in your language also. Say for example, if I am taking geography, and this aspect also I am missing out, you can write your examinations in your language also. As far as main prelims is concerned, it is just choose the best answer. It is multiple choice question, so language has no role in it. The questions will be in English and in Hindi. As far as mains are concerned, you are going to have a descriptive type examination. You are going to write your examination, so you can write in any language you want. You can write in English, or you can write in Hindi, or you can write in your native language also. Questions will be in English and Hindi only, but you can write in any language. So as far as the option papers are concerned, now even all the option materials are available in your native language also. Even if we take geography also, history also, anything it is now comfortably available in all the language. So now it is not that I have to choose an option where the materials are available in abundant, not these things and all. You can choose any option you want. You can choose engineering option, you can choose medical option, you can even choose literature option also. Literature is also a very good option. You can generally take. You can take psychology, anthropology. There are many things. Okay, so it is please don't go by this person has taken this option, so I'm also taking. So I have taken geography, so you will also take geography. No, not like that. Okay, so you have to have comfort zone when you are preparing for option, because unlike other areas where UPSC is asking you to answer, this option area is your own area. You are selecting that option. It is not like UPSC thrusting upon you that no, you have to choose this one only and you have to read. For other 7 papers, yes, UPSC is selecting and giving. For these 2 papers, UPSC is giving you an option. You choose whatever you want. So we have to choose it wisely. At the same time, we have to choose it whichever is comfortable for us. So that is the only thing. You don't have to worry about materials. You don't have to worry about preparation things. You don't have to worry about question paper availability. You don't have to worry about mentors. Now mentors, materials, question papers, everything is comfortably available. Even in net also, now we can get so much of free materials. Okay, so you don't have to worry about materials, all these things. The only thing for you to choose your option is you should be comfortable. And some persons might not be liking any of these subjects. Some persons might not be liking even history, geography, politics, economics, environment, nothing. So for them, for reading all these things, I mean, you don't have any other option, you have to read it. So for those persons, if they like literature options comfortable, they can take literature also. But keep in mind that for taking an option which is beyond our general studies preparation, you have to spend some more time and then you have to prepare. Say for example, if you are taking literature option, you have to spend some time separately. Suppose if you are taking psychology option, or you are taking some other options, or even CA or even law, sometimes you have to have extra set of preparations for it. So that is the only thing. Again, you don't have to confuse all these things about options, all these things. It is just a simple thing. Whichever subject you are comfortable, go for it. That's all. Okay. And I would suggest you to have some 1 or 2 months of preparation in GS and then to take a call. Okay, not immediately. That it is not like tomorrow UPSC is going to ask which one you are going to select and all. You can choose your option based on that. Okay. So coming back to option questions, the choose subject which we are choosing will be divided into two: paper 1 and paper 2. It depends. Like for example, in geography, paper 1 would be world geography, paper 2 would be Indian geography. Similarly, for history also, it varies. And if you are taking law also, one set would be different, other question would be other half of polity. That's all. So you can choose any options, and preparation level is not going to have any much difference with respect to prelims. If at all you are choosing any option from which is similar to our GS preparation. However, with respect to mains, you have to have certain set of additional works with respect to options. So with respect to option, I will take a different session, because option is detailed one. We have to speak separately. With respect to how to choose an option, we can have a separate session. I think many are asking questions with respect to options. I will take a separate session. But only thing you remember now, with respect to option, you have to choose an option which is comfortable for you. That's all. That is the only thing. Okay. Whether this option is good option, whether this option is bad option, there is nothing like this good option, there is nothing like this bad option and all. People have scored even taking rare options also. People have not scored even after taking common options also. Okay. So this is good option, this is not bad option, nothing like. Okay. It really depends on your comfortness. So coming to essay and other general questions. So we have GS 1, 2, 3 and GS 4 and essays. Now, why I'm saying GS 1, 2, 3? GS 1, 2, 3 is fully related to general studies. GS 4 is ethics paper, which is slightly different from the general studies paper. Now, in ethics paper, you will be given certain set of problems where you have to analyze and then you have to answer. Say, for example, there will be a question like you are a bank manager and there is a robbery going on in bank. So, how you will react to it? So these type of answers you will not get in any papers, all these things and all. You will have general understanding of all these things when you are having the complete set of UPSC preparation. So these type of questions are to assess your psychological behavior, how you are actually behaving within the short span of time. So it is not like UPSC is giving so much time for you to think and answer. So you have to read the question and you have to start writing. That's all. You will hardly have any time. Otherwise, you will not be able to complete the entire question. So how UPSC is testing you is UPSC is giving you very limited time to react. At the same time, you have to come up with a good solution also. Okay, this is a management skill where we have to learn that within the short span of time, you have to come up with a good solution. Okay, sometimes the solution might be wrong. That doesn't matter, but we have to be confident of what we are actually saying. Okay, so we have to develop that skill. That is why this GS paper 4 is trying to develop within you. Okay, it generally speaks about your psychological behaviors, how honest you are in your answers, how honest you are in your approach. This is with respect to GS paper 4. Then coming to GS paper 1, 2 and 3 and essay. These 4 papers, with respect to essay, I'll just touch upon essay and then I'll go to others. With respect to essay, there will be 1 or 2 questions. It depends. Nowadays, UPSC is asking 2 questions. Earlier, UPSC used to ask only 1 question. So for this entire 250 marks, you will have only 1 question. So you have 3 hours of time. You have to choose. You will be given 4 or 5 questions, and you have to choose either one of them. Presently, 2 set of questions are given. They say part A, part B. Part A will have 5 questions. Part B will have 5 questions. You have to answer 1 from part A, and then you have to answer 1 from part B. Now that means you have 1.5 hours to answer part A 1 question and 1.5 hours to answer part B 1 question. Now essay and options are 2 areas where you can actually score more when compared to others. With respect to GS 1, 2, 3 and GS 4, Generally everybody will be giving almost similar answers only, because we are given limited time, and then our reaction time is also very less. We have to complete the entire question papers. So generally we will have same set of thinking. Remember, I told already that almost all 15,000 people who are going to write mains examination will be of same standard. Like everybody will have general understanding about all the aspects, and everybody will be almost in the same platform. Okay, so the thinking will generally be of the common lines. If say for example, if bank robbery is happening, what I should do? I should try to inform the police, or there should be some special panic buttons or something which I should do, or I should try to record the person's face or something, or ID or something like that. So these are general things which comes to our mind. These general things will come to everybody's mind also. Okay, everybody will be giving almost somewhat similar answer only. Okay, so making a difference is a bit difficult with respect to GS 1, 2, 3 and 4 papers. So generally people will be giving same set of answers. Okay, however, with respect to your options and with respect to your essay paper, you can actually give different set of answers, and you can differentiate yourself from others, especially with respect to essay. Essay is a very scoring paper. Okay, and essay will only ask the general questions only. They will ask, say for example, science and technology. When I cleared, this was the question: science and technology is the panacea of all solutions, all issues with respect to agriculture. That is the question. Now what they are expecting is, they are expecting us to link science and technology and agriculture. Last year I saw the question paper, it was something related to artificial intelligence. So there was a question on artificial intelligence. So this is just in the market, everybody knows what is artificial intelligence, all these things and all. They were asking how artificial intelligence can be of usefulness to human something like that, human race or something like that. So these are general questions. It is not specific questions, or it is not like these questions are very technical in nature, all these things and all. These are general questions. Now what we have to do, we have to think deeply before answering. We have 1.5 hours time. If we are sure about what we are going to write, we can even complete this answer within 45 minutes. Okay, so we can take around 10 to 15 minutes to think how we are going to write, what we are going to do, all these things and all, plan our answer, and then we have to answer with respect to with respect to essays. So when we are arranging our answer in a better way, say for example, when we are speaking about a specific issue, say for example, education. Okay, so when we are speaking about how to improve education in India, if there is a general question, we should not start saying that education we have to give this. No, we have to speak about problems first, and then we have to give solutions. So a specific set of problems we have to give. So let us start from political. What is the problem with respect to political aspects? Then social aspects, what could be the problem? Then economical aspects, what could be the problem? What could be the solution? You have to arrange your answers in a separate set of ways. So that will give good understanding. Even if you are reading a book, you will understand that it is arranged in a proper way. If it is just mixed everything, then you will not be able to read the book. You don't like the book. Okay, you have to bring the same feeling for the evaluator also. That's all. That is the only trick with respect to essay. So if you are good in that, then you will definitely get good marks, which will boost your ranks in final thing. That's all. Okay, so essay is over, options is over, GS4 is over, GS1, 2, 3. So GS1, 2, 3, the same prelims preparation only, slightly with some additions. Say for example, GS1 is related to history and geography. Now what extra we are going to read? We are going to read world history. Okay, and we are going to read some common areas like some women empowerment, then society, all these things and all. These are common areas, but at the same time, these are over and above what we have generally prepared in prelims. So around 70% of this GS1 syllabus would have been already covered in prelims. Now we are going to add some more value to the mains by reading some extra areas like world geography, then society, then all these things and all, and then we enrich our answer. That's all. With respect to GS2, that is polity and governance. So polity we would have already read in our prelims. Now governance is another aspect which we are going to read. Governance is also slightly touched upon in our polity with respect to Lakshmikant. There are some chapters which slightly touch upon governance. Now we are going to have some deep understanding about governance. That's all. So that is the only difference. Now how we are going to do? We have to have another round of preparation, especially with respect to governance, and then we have to have overall preparation with respect to polity and governance. That's all. And the answer writing skills, all these things and all are same as I said earlier. That's all. Okay. Then coming to GS option 3. GS option 3 is GS paper 3. GS paper 3 is limiting itself to science and technology, environment, and economics. Now we must have already read all these aspects: science and technology, environment, and economics. With respect to GS paper 2, the extra addition, one more extra addition would be international relations. We would have already seen this in, or you might be understanding, I mean, you might be knowing it when you are preparing. We would have seen this in our regular papers and all. India-China issue, India-Pakistan issue, India-Sri Lanka issue, then US and China issue, South Korea, North Korea issue, China, North Korea issue, all these things and all international relations. This we would have just touched upon in our prelims. Now we have to have good understanding about how international relations operate. That is also an addition in GS paper 2. With respect to GS paper 3, apart from the regular works of economics, environment and science and technology, we will be having some other additional areas also like internal security, disaster management. I think one of you had already asked this question. With respect to disaster management and internal security, we have standard set of books also, small books only. Generally, whatever additions we are having in as far as UPSC mains is concerned with respect to prelims, most of them are like related to current affairs. Say let us take international relations. International relations is fully current affairs. Of course, there are some history, but at the same time, the questions will be mostly related to current affairs aspects. We might be getting a question also with respect to US-China ties also next year. So how US-China ties is working. Now, UPSC will not ask describe about US-China ties. They won't ask questions. They will ask questions with respect to Indians' point of view. They will say that describe how US-China ties are impacting Indian economy. They will ask that type of questions. Okay, now for this we should understand what US is dealing with, what China is dealing with, what is the issue between US and China. At the same time, how this war, trade war, is impacting Indian economy also. So that is what we have to answer. Okay, again this is current affairs area. Again coming to GS paper 3, we will be asking internal security questions. Internal security means like border security is there. At the same time, we have internal security also. Internal security is generally used for Naxal operations, all these things. And border security is used to manage national borders. Now, suppose if there are some Naxal attacks somewhere in India, say for example in Chhattisgarh or in Jharkhand, so that type of questions might come in our mains examinations. So that is how we have to generally operate. Okay. So most of these things are having touch in current affairs. So these are the questions generally they are going to ask in mains. Okay. So we have to have preparation. Basic preparation is flowing from prelims, and along with that we have to have some more preparation. Say for example 70% for prelims and 30% we have to add. And then the major aspect with respect to mains is we have to start writing mains papers, start answering. So you have to start writing, and then we have to bring in as many different aspects as possible in a particular answer paper. That's all. That is with respect to mains. Now I'm not going too deep into all these aspects. I'm just trying to give you an overview of what is happening. Okay. So if you have any specific questions with respect to mains, you can ask. Otherwise, we will move on to interview. Book list, my option is geography. Give me book list. Book list and all I will discuss in a separate thing. Options. Okay. Anyway, now this is a general. This session is about general understanding of what UPC is. Again, as I said earlier, there is no good option, no bad option. All options are good only. So there is nothing like good option, bad option, and all. So it purely depends on your thing. How to make notes. Now there are two set of making. This is the question. How to make notes. There are two set of preparation. One is making notes in the same book itself, other one making a separate notes. So some people might want to have separate notes, some people might not be wanting to have a separate note. They will just scribble in the corner of the books or something like that only. So both ways are okay. Whichever is comfortable for you, you go for it. Okay, there is nothing like if at all you have to clear mains, you have to have a separate set of notes. No, nothing like that. Okay, so it is always important to follow what is comfortable for you. That's all. Okay, so I don't generally take notes and all. I simply take notes in the corner of my book alone, in the pages alone. Say for example, if I'm reading fundamental rights. Okay, so when I'm reading fundamental rights, I'll be reading something. Okay, when a particular set of fundamental right, if I'm reading, and if there is any relevant judgment, say for example, Kesavananda Bharati case is there, then Minerva Mills case is there, means I will just hint just next to that fundamental right. This fundamental right is having link with this cases and all. When I'm reading about the case, which is going to come after 3 or 4 pages in Lakshmi Khan, when I'm reading that case, I will bring this fundamental right aspect also. This case is impacting the fundamental right 19, 20, 21, all these things and all. So I will mark. So if I'm reading about right to education, okay, so I will read about I will just scribble about the earlier fundamental rights, all these things and all in that paper. How education, right to education become a fundamental right, all these things. I'll just scribble in the corner of the paper. Okay, so when I just read that particular book again, when I'm reading this, I will simultaneously see that comment also, or I will simultaneously see my notes also, and then I will understand. So that is how we have to operate. This is my way of preparation, but that doesn't mean that this is the only way of preparation. We can actually go for separate set of preparation of notes also. Say I read it in a book and then I'll take a short notes of it in a paper. So whichever is comfortable for you, we can go for it. Some people might be used to take notes even in school times also. Some people might not be used to take notes at all. So it depends. Whichever is comfortable for you, you can go for it. So it doesn't mean that you have to follow only, you have to compulsorily take notes for preparing, nothing like that. Okay, both ways will work. My option is geography. It is important to make notes for NCERT. The same applies for NCERT also. Okay, so I generally scribble in the corner or in the next page on the top or bottom of the books actually. So my book will be very horrible to see. There will be so many like underlines and some scribblings here and there. So it is up to you. If you want to have a separate set of notes, you can go for it. Or if you are not used to it, you don't have to develop this habit. You can simply scribble in your book itself, and then you can continue. Some people are saying to rely on limited source, but it is good as we need to have multiple perspectives. It's a good question. We need to have multiple perspectives, but at the same time, limiting source is different and reading from only one source is different. So now if we are speaking about history, let us take modern India. Okay, modern India, we have old NCERTs, we have new NCERTs also, which are basics. Generally, either we can take old NCERT or new NCERT. Either one we can read. At the same time, we have to read about spectrum also. So spectrum will give understanding of some other aspects which were not taught in old NCERT. Now these two books will be enough to cover modern India. If you want to have one more round of reading, you can go for Placid to Partition by Placid to Partition also. But these three books will generally cover your aspects, all your preparations. Okay, so I would suggest you to have at least 2 books, not more than 3 books. Okay, this is limiting your preparation. See, for history, there are numerous books. There are hundreds of books which are written on history, especially if you take modern India. There are so many books under modern India. Okay, so generally we limit it to only 2 or 3 sources. 2 comfortable, 3 if you really want to have different perspectives, you can go for 3. But more than 3 will be waste of time. Okay, and you will forget your things also. Because if you are reading 2 books, then you should be thorough with the 2 books. That is a concept. Okay, if you are reading 3 books, you should be thorough with the 3 books. So for this, there is a way. If you can just search in net also, you will see there are certain set of, suppose if you want to read 2 books, you have to compulsory read 2 books. Third book, if you want to read, you need not have to read everything. There may be some missing aspects which are not covered in these 2 books, which would have been covered in the third book. Only those areas you can read. Say for example, in Placid to Partition, in partition book, the partition aspects are covered well, covered in that book actually. And this Battle of Plassey, all these things and all, that means prior to Indian independence will be covered. Sorry, prior to this, all these issues, especially after 1900s to 1900s to 1947, this is generally covered well in NCERTs. But during the 1947 times and prior to 1900 times, that is well covered in Plassey. So Placid to Partition. So if you want to choose books, you can choose like that and you can read. But I would generally suggest you to limit it to 2 books. If you really want to read it, you can go for 3 books, but 3 books, but not more than 3. How do you make notes of newspapers? Newspaper, we have to make notes for newspaper. Otherwise, we tend to forget. It's just a thing only. What we do is that I or my colleagues, we generally have a note for it. We just split that note into 4 or 5 pages: history, geography, politics, environment, like that we split. And then whenever there are new information, important information comes, what we'll do is that we will just write the gist of it in that note. That's all. And then what we'll do is that if needed, we will take if we cut that one and then we will paste it in some other thing. Say for example, we'll just store it in file. We just give the reference number here. So if at all required, we will just see that paper cuttings and then we will see. That is a way to make notes. Or if you don't want to have paper cuttings, you can just write a small para about it in your book, and then you can just in your note, and then you can just store it. That is a way with respect to making notes in current affairs. But nowadays, I would suggest you, I mean, earlier it was required. During my time and all, this current affairs and all were, there were no such materials for current affairs and all. It was very difficult for us to cover materials and all. So we were relying only on newspapers. Now I think there are so many materials available in market. Our work somebody else is doing and giving it to us. See, we have Vajram and Ravi's current affairs notes. We have Rao's current affairs notes. We have Shankar's current affairs notes. There are so many current affairs notes actually, and PT 365, May 365. There are many visions thing and all. So presently, if you are not that much comfortable in writing notes for current affairs, nothing to worry. We can easily purchase these type of compiled notes month-wise or yearly compiled notes also, and then we can prepare at the end also. It is not going to have much of change. Okay, fine. How far we have to cover for current affairs? There is no limit for current affairs. It is just an open area. Okay, so we will see last 1.5 years of current affairs. That's all. 1 year is very important, and 1.5 years we can cover. Say for example, generally examination will be in May. If examination is in this May, then we would have generally covered from last May to this May. That's all. If you want to cover a bit more, you can start from last January. So 1.5 years of current affairs we can cover. That would be enough. How can manage stressful situation during examination? This and all we will take it as a separate session. Stress during examinations and all, that will take it as a separate session. Okay. Then any other questions? Shall we move to interview part? Is Kannada a good option? Yes. As I said earlier, there is no good or there is no bad option. All are same. Sir, both option and literature we have to choose. No, we have only one option. Okay, we don't have two options. There are two question papers within one option. So you have to choose only one option. Okay. Earlier during 2012, up to 2012, there were two options. 4 question papers and 2 options. Now it is only limited to only one option. You have one option and 2 questions. You have to choose only one option. Okay. Sir, I like psychology, but I am from arts group. So what type of questions related to I take? See, if you like psychology, you can very well take psychology as an option. Shouldn't be a problem. Is there any special marks for neatness like handwriting, presentation and all? There are no special marks for handwriting, all these things and all, neatness, presentation and all, but there are special marks for segregation of your answer. So how many perspectives you are bringing into the one particular answer, that is more important. And especially when you are writing mains essay paper, how you are arranging your answer, that is more important. So when I am speaking about say for example, I am just giving a crude example just to have how we are going to speak. So when I'm speaking about Indian national movement, I cannot start from Indian independence. Okay, I have to start from 1970s, then 80s, then 90s, then 1940s, 30s, 40s, 50s. This is how we have to come. So the segregation is also very important. The first, which one should we say first, that we have to start. Which one should we say last, that we have to start. For that, definitely there are marks. Okay, the arrangement of your answer. Then neatness and all, there is nothing like that. Okay, you have to have some neat legible handwriting. That's all. If an examiner is reading your question paper, he should be able to read what you are writing. That's all. If that is there, then it is fine. Again, grammar issues and all is not an issue. If you are not very much good in English, or if you are making grammatical mistakes, that is not a problem. UPSC won't consider all these things and all. You should give general understanding. That means you have to convey your message. That's all. The reader should understand what you are trying to say. Even if there are grammatical mistakes, it is fine. You don't have to worry much. Okay. Sir, I like psychology. Fine. Again, the same question is repeating. I think I've already answered. I like psychology, but I'm from arts group. You can take psychology option. Shouldn't be a problem. Okay. If you like psychology, you can go for it. No issues. Is it better that we choose Tamil literature so that we can get good marks? So as I've already told, there is nothing like good option or bad option. Whichever you are comfortable with, you can do. That's all. If I write mains in Kannada, can I clear mains? You can always write in any language. Language has nothing to do with your preparation, all these things and all. If you are writing in Kannada, suppose if you are geography option, you are writing in Kannada, your paper will be evaluated by a geography person who is having Kannada knowledge. Okay, so you don't have to worry about which person going to evaluate all these things and all. You can write in any language. Okay. How to present answer in good manner and understanding questions like elaborate, critical, analyze, illustrate. This and all I'll take it as a separate session, because mains answer writing skill is a separate session. I'll take it as a separate session. Okay. So material available for Tamil option. As I said earlier, there are so many materials available for every option. You don't have to worry about material at all. Somebody is again and again asking the same question. What was your option? My option is geography. My option is geography. I think around 5 or 6 questions I have seen. My option is geography. Okay. So I think many questions are coming. So shall we go to interview? It is taking so much time. Then you will all get bored actually. Okay. So we'll go to interview. So the third and the last one is interview. With respect to interview, now the expectation of UPSC is different with respect to interview. Now in mains, the UPSC is expecting you to show your skill, how skillful you are when you are answering your questions. Okay, that is what UPSC is expecting when you are answering mains. However, in interview is different, because interview, as I said earlier, 50,000 people will be writing mains, and if at all there are 1,000 vacancies, 3,000 people will be taken for interview. So the top 3,000 persons will go into interview. That's all. Okay. So as far as interview is concerned, they already know that you are skilled. Okay, so you have answered questions, you have cleared prelims, you have cleared mains, and you have come to interview stage. Okay, and you are one among the 3,000 persons who are equally skilled. Okay, it's not like your skill is more than the other person who is sitting next to you. You are equally skilled with respect to others. Others are also equally skilled with respect to you. Okay, now interview is a deliberate discussion. It is written in UPSC. When you see the UPSC notification, it is clearly written. Okay, it's a deliberate discussion. That means they deliberately want to have a discussion with you. So the panel members will deliberately discuss with you. They will not be testing your knowledge. Okay, they will be testing your understanding, how deeply you are having a better understanding about any situation. So I can share some of my questions which I got in my interview. In my interview, I got a question like this: how we can apply computerization or IT or internet systems in management of public toilets. Okay, this is one question. One more question is, describe about your native district with respect to agriculture, and what changes you want to bring in your native with respect to agriculture. So these type of general questions you will come. So you might be knowing this answer already. If it is given to you in writing, say for example this question is given and you are supposed to write, you will definitely write this. No. When you are sitting in front of a panel, 5 persons will be there. Okay, you have to present yourself. Okay, so there is nothing like this is right answer, this is wrong answer and all, but you have to be confident. At the same time, you have to be honest. If you don't know the answer, you have to say I don't know. There may be some specific tricky questions, okay, which they deliberately ask you to check the level of your honesty. Say for example, I have heard that in one of the interview, one of the person was asked to design or asked to explain the design of T90 tanks, okay, which is generally used in army. Okay, so of course, if we ask what is T90 tank, we can say T90 tank is used for war purposes. It is an anti-missile tank. All these things we can say. If someone asks about design of T90 tanks, it's a deliberate question. They know that you don't know the answer. Okay, but if you start bluffing, then they know that okay, you are bluffing. Okay, that shouldn't be there, because this particular interview is to test your honestness and to test how truthful you are to your answer and how strong you are in your answer. Even in my case also, I got a question that there was a discussion about launching satellites in eastern coast. Okay, why satellites are generally launched in eastern coast, all these things and all this discussion was going on. Then it will be like continuous discussion. It is not like they'll be asked only one question and then you will answer and then they'll go to next question. There will be continuous discussion. Then it went on like why it was very close to equator, all these things and all. Suddenly one one interviewer asked me that now tell me the formula for launching and all. I said, no, I don't know the formula. So this is a deliberate question which is specifically inserted when you are answering answers, just to see how honest you are, just to see whether you are just bluffing or you are just limiting yourself to those areas where you exactly know, and you are not venturing into those areas which you don't know. That is also an important aspect. Okay, so these type of general things will be there, but at the same time, they will expect you to have basic understanding of all these things. Suppose if they are asking about rocket launchings and all, and if I say I don't know, sir, then that means you don't have basic thing actually. Okay, it happened to one of my friend also. He actually is a physics optional person. He was asked to explain about bio-MC. Bio-MC, many of you might be knowing. Okay, he's a physics graduate and he's a physics optional person also. But suddenly he forgot. Okay. So then he said, I am a physics graduate, but still I forgot as of now. They said, it's okay, no problem. So that means they are just testing your honesty level, how honest you are and how we are answering. But it doesn't go well. At the same time, you have to be sure about what you are saying. You should not just like that bluff. At the same time, you should be confident in your answer. This is what interview is expecting from you. Interview marks will be added to your mains marks, and the total of your mains and interview will be your final marks. Okay, and if UPSC is taking 1,000 persons based on OBC, OC, and SC/ST categories, they will rank accordingly, and then for each rank they will be taking the persons, and this would be your final. So as far as this is, as far as interview is concerned, you don't have to specifically prepare for all these things and all. You have to keep on just rehearsing whatever you have prepared in your mains and prelims. Only thing is you should have general understanding about how to answer for solutions. So if at all you are asked for a particular solution, you should think of it. Okay, that's all. So apart from that, there is nothing much in discussions with respect to interview. I think we can just close on this. If you have any specific issues with respect to interview, please limit your questions only to interview. Okay. So if there are any general questions, I'll come after that. Okay. So if there are any questions limited to interview, please ask. Or if you don't have any questions, then probably we can call it a day. And if you have any general things to ask, you can maybe ask. Can we attend interview in bilingual? Yes, you can attend interview in any language. You can attend interview in your own language also. If you want to choose your own language, then you can answer your own language also. There will be a translator who will be sitting along with you. And if you want to answer, the translator will help you to translate your answer to the panel. So you don't have to worry. You can attend. You can attend interview in any language. Is there any chance that we get rejected because of interview performance? No, nothing like that and all. That is why earlier I told there might be a slight difference in your marks based on your performance. So just to remove that bias, UPSC is adding both mains and interview marks. So if you have done well in mains, you don't have to worry about interview. Even if there are some slight ups and downs in interview, you will definitely get through it. Okay. So there's nothing like you will get rejected because of your interview performance and all. Even if I get very less marks in interview, I have seen some cases also where they had generally got some 120, 130 marks, 120 marks only, but still they got into IAS, IPS also because of their mains performance. So their mains performance would have been better. So they would have scored better marks in mains. So even if their interview marks are very less, still they'll be able to get good rankings and good posts because of their interview mains marks. Okay, so you don't have to worry about your mains marks. Just a minute. Should I have to be very fluent in English or just basic English enough? Just basic English enough. You don't have to be very fluent in English and all. And your UPSC interview panel will also not expect you to answer in such a way that you have to answer in that fluent style, all these things and all. Even a normal thing is fine. Even general language is fine. Even the interviewers who are coming in interview will also be not having that much quality. They are not English professors or something like that. Okay, they are all from varied backgrounds. Say for example, if I am going for an interview, my option is geography means they don't generally do it, but there will be an assistant professor, there will be a person, there will be a retired government official, there will be a serving government official, and there might be a CA chartered accountant, and there might be a scientist. There might be a different group of persons actually. So not all will be having this thing. There might be around 9 or 10 panels totally for interview, and which panel we are going, that will be decided only when we are just entering it. Okay, it is just decided based on which panel gets cleared first, and then we go accordingly. That's all. Okay, so there will be around 50 to 60% sitting in the panel. Okay, and this particular panel members will get shuffled every week also. Okay, so different persons will come into this. So there is nothing like there are standard set of people who will all do all these things. Only the chairman of the panel is fixed. Only the chairman will be there. All the members of the panel will get changed frequently. So you don't have to worry about which type of language fluency, all these things and all. Many of the people who are coming might not be having language fluency. Okay, but they are all very good in their understanding of their area. Say if I'm bringing a particular, if there is a doctor available there in that panel, that doctor will be one of the top doctors in India. Okay, so you don't have to worry about all these things. In interview, how to answer terrorist type of questions, which is asked, that and all we'll take it up separately. Okay, interview questions, how to answer questions in interview, that we'll take it up separately. I'm just giving a gentle overview. In interview, they need fluently. If you want to,
the journal has traveled to more than 102 countries.
I've already answered. So this question I asked before, is there filtration based on reservation in prelims as we have reservation in mains? Yes, we have reservation in prelims also. OC, OBC and SC, ST. The same applies for prelims, mains and interview also. That is there. You can ask any general questions also if you want. I think many questions are there. I'll try to answer one by one. I'll read it one by one. So before I read, it's just going just like that. I'll read it one by one. Is mock interview important for useful? Yes, mock interview will be important. It will give you confidence for preparing. So you have to give at least 1 or 2 mock interviews. Can we attend interview in Urdu? You can attend interview in any of these things. My rank is 1032. I scored 1032 in overall. Will there be any differentiation for civil service son daughters in UPSC? No, there won't be any differentiation. UPSC will not be knowing. UPSC will not be knowing your background and all when you are writing mains. But when you are writing prelims, they will be knowing your background. But that doesn't mean that you will have differentiation when respect to civil servant son or daughter. Why? Because the interview panelists are not from civil servant side alone. There are different persons. There are, as I said earlier, there are assistant professors, there are scientists, there are doctors, there are engineers. Different persons will be there. Renowned persons, economists, psychologists. Many persons will be there. Okay, so many persons will be there. So the total, say for example, everybody will be giving marks, and the total of the marks will be your final interview mark. So if there is a person who is trying to give a biased opinion or biased mark for a candidate because that candidate's father or mother is known to him, but that doesn't mean that remaining 4 interviewers also will do the same thing. So when you're averaging out all the marks, that bias will automatically go. Okay, you don't have to worry about those type of things. Okay. Is there any concern for looks or physical appearances? No, there are no concerns. You have this has nothing to do with your physical appearance, all these things, just to your knowledge and your confidence. How to make DAF? Does it matter in personality test? DAF matters in personality test, but this is not the session. DAF sessions we will take it up separately. May they ask questions from the stream from which they have graduated? Yes, they will ask questions from the streams they have graduated also, but you don't have to be master in all these things. Suppose there are some basic things you should be able to answer, because for example, I am a civil engineering graduate, so if at all they ask some civil engineering basic questions, I should be able to answer. It is not like I don't know, sir, or something like that. Suppose if you have really forgotten this, you can stay. It's a honest thing. So no, sir, I forgot, I am not able to answer all these things. Otherwise it is fine. I think shall we? That's all. Did I miss any question? Okay, so I think that's all. Should our answers in GS1 paper, which you had given example of bank robbery, match the Prelims set answer, or if your answer is better, it will get marks? So there is nothing like that. Anyway, I gave that bank robbery example for GS4 paper, ethics paper, not GS1. Preset answer, there is no preset answers as far as UPSC is concerned. UPSC is not having any set of, or at least they claim that they don't have any, what to say, there is the model answers. So they don't have any model answers for anything. Okay, it is given, the freedom is given to the examiner. The examiner, if he thinks that he's okay, he'll give you marks. Say for example, when I wrote examination, there was a paper, in essay, I can give that example. Science and technology is the solution for farmers' problem. That is a question, whether you agree or not. Okay, so either I have to take I agree, or I have to take I don't agree. Okay, so I took that option as I agree, and I wrote. I got around 130. So there are, I know one of my friend who said who took the other thing. He spoke again regarding that he don't agree with this thing. Science and technology is not the solution for farmers' problem. That is what he wrote actually. He also got almost similar marks, 120, 120. So we both have given 2 different aspects. I have said yes, I told yes, and he told no. But the answers varied. So the marks were also almost similar. So the thing is this. So the mark doesn't go based on what you are actually answering. It based on how you are actually presenting. That's all. Okay. So we should be thorough in our personal affairs in order to answer them. Yes, we should be thorough in our personal affairs. Did you face any question regarding civil engineering in your interviews? Yes, I faced, but they were just light questions only. I was able to answer. So, any more questions or?
Shall we finish the session?
Yeah, we can finish the session. If there are no more questions, then we can finish the session. So I think minimum time for interview will be somewhat around 20-25 minutes. So I think we can finish off this session. I think you all must have had a general understanding of how UPSC prelims, mains, and interview operates. So some of you are very much interested in interview, some of you are very much interested in mains. So I'm just giving you a general, I just gave you a general idea about how UPSC operates. So it is very important that before entering into any preparation, you should understand how this operates. So I have not touched upon many areas. There might be many doubts with you. all these things and all, I'll take it up in different sessions. Okay, so this is only to have give a general overview about UPSC. I hope this session would have been useful for you. This session would have given a general understanding of how to approach UPSC. We will speak further in different sessions. And thank you very much for this time, and thank you IKLAS for giving this session also. We will keep on discussing different sessions. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you. I, on behalf of IKLAS IAAS Academy, I very heartily thank Brother Ashraf for his presence and took out a valuable time on his busy schedule. Also, I'd like to thank you again, Brother Ashraf, for your inspiring speech. Jazakallah khair for your time. Okay. And thank you all aspirants. Jazakallah khair.
Jazakallah, thank you very much. Thank you.